We open with a nightmare. Murky green water bubbling, strange shapes beyond your reach, and a claustrophobic pressure pushing down on you. As your chest grows tighter, you gasp for air and the viscous fills your lungs. You feel as if you're drowning. You claw at the bubbles, trying to reach out for help, but everything fades to darkness as the dizziness overtakes you. You awaken in bed, in the Devil's Delight. Each member of the party had this dream, and as it fleets this morning, they awaken with a sense of déjà vu. They've had it every night that they've slept here in Restone. Ivan quickly began sprawling down what he could recall from the dream before it slipped from his memory. At the breakfast table, Ivan spoke about his nightmare, and the rest of the party began to remember. They inquired around, and everyone at the inn, including the innkeeper, felt that they had had this dream before. Concerned but with no further ties, they left it at that, theorising perhaps it was the devil statue in the basement. They rested for the day and found themselves with the same nightmarish occurrence the next morning. But they had a more pressing mission, finding the scout, Florin Ebenhud. The party made their way to Demdike's woods. While stopping for water by a stream, Ivan realised that his backpack was suddenly much heavier. After some prodding, they discovered a gnome with a pointed felt hat and bushy beard hiding within the backpack. The gnome, who introduced himself as Yerd, seemed a little forgetful, but friendly enough, and was looking for some company. So the party invited him to join them and journey to Demdike. At Demdike's they discussed further plans, learned the route to the ancient burial tomb, and inquired into the nightmare. Demdike had not had the nightmare herself, but knew some villagers who had come in feeling sickly after a poor night's sleep, and recounting the same visions. The party believes that it must be radial to Restone, as Demdike hasn't had the dream herself. After this, they spoke about trading with Demdike for magic items. She said that there was another job that they could do for her, collect some mushrooms from the Elfwood, which is west of the King's Road, in a pixie's cave. These mushrooms are medicinal, and when brewed, they're a core ingredient in healing potions. She also mentioned that she has a few scrolls and potions, which she could reward for any odd trinkets or rare minerals that the party find in the area. One particular and dangerous thing, she told them, was the egg of a dragon that lives in an abandoned town in Gulfen Mire to the east. Timid to adventure there, the party decided that they would consider it further once they were more experienced. The party returned to town where Ivan hired a pair of retainers, Atfried and Brose, who he sent to scout the tomb and meet them on the road the next day. Blank met a wealthy merchant named Clifton Caldwell and bought a hunting dog from him. In conversation, Clifton mentioned that he had purchased a deed for a castle at an auction, but when he had come to it, the castle was home to a load of monsters. Blank requested that Clifton look after the dog, which was named Junior, while the party went to find the burial tomb. And once they return, they'll clear out the castle. The company found themselves journeying along the road into the fields of Whiteheath on a very rainy day. They met their scouts, who only briefly had journeyed into the forest. They had found the burial tomb, but there were venomous spitting snakes in the forest, and they decided to flee rather than risk a fight. The group waited out the rain before traversing into the forest. When the weather cleared somewhat, they journeyed in and found Florin's camp. However, a group had already beaten them to it. Lizard men. The party exchanged words with the lizard men, taking a more peaceful approach, as the lizard men didn't seem violent to them at first. And they learned that this tribe had long had issues with fungus-like goblins, and that this human campsite had been attacked by goblins. After this short encounter, the party continued deeper and found themselves outside the mouth of the burial tomb. I really enjoyed this fun wee session. Actually, it was a lot of RP, no combat in this one, which was maybe a bit of a good contrast compared to the previous sessions where we've had characters die in fights. I think the party was a bit relieved that they didn't find themselves in any too harmful situations. Some of them could have gone wrong, especially with the lizard men. If they had encountered that differently, the lizard men would have attacked them. But luckily they rolled well on their NPC encounter reactions, or monster reactions, and the party actually were on the surprising end of the interaction with the lizard men. Yerd the Gnome is our new player character, so the thief, the previous thief, Nameless or Vix, their new character is Yerd. It's a funny old little gnome. I'm actually quite happy with Yerd. It seems like the player is getting a lot more into it. She was doing a character voice and everything like that, which she hadn't previously done with Thief, so it seems like she's finding her footing and sort of what she's interested in. So that's good, I'm happy about that. Also, less murder hole bonus from Blank, especially as he was now, had a chat with Clifton Caldwell and hired himself, or bought himself a dog. Ivan as well, it was nice to see him sink some money towards some retainers, which I believe the rest of the party are going to be partially paying for as well, pooling in for it. They also decided to pay the retainers a bit extra, seeming just because of how dangerous that this mission could be. So the retainers are getting 2 gold per day each. So that's 4 gold that's coming out the pockets of the party, and they're already 2 days in. So yeah, depends how long it could take them, especially going into this cave, into this burial tomb, and how deep it actually is. And the dog could come in handy. However, they decided to leave it back at town just in case, because if it is too dangerous, he didn't want to spend money on the dog and then it die, as it's already an investment. While with these adventurers, these retainers, if they die, then you're not paying them yet, right? Like, you don't lose out on your money. Also, there are a few more quests there. So they've got the Mushroom Cave with Demdike, which has a little bit of a moral quandary that they might come to, as well. We'll see what that is once they get there. I don't want to reveal anything too much. We also have the Swamplands and the dragon that's there, which is a very dangerous encounter. They could go after it now if they wanted to, and it could give them an early game boost, you could call it. But then again, they could get TPK within 1 round if they try and steal from a dragon. If they encounter the dragon, that is. So you'd have to be very stealthy with that. On top of that, it is a dragon, and if it finds where its egg has gone, it's going to be angry. So, really tempting fate there. I put that in just as I think to show the scale of the world that there is. It isn't just, troglodytes in caves at their level. There is dangers such as dragons just beyond the fields in the swamps. And also, as a little bit of a tempt, I'm a little bit of a trickster. I like to see, how far would they push it? Would they go after it? And Clifton Caldwell, if anyone has played older sort of modules, you might know Clifton Caldwell, as he is from Caldwell Castle. He's a merchant NPC. I'm unsure if he's actually a merchant in the original. Can't remember what I actually sampled from that. But an early set of BX adventures for low level play is, I think it's called Caldwell Castle and More Adventures, something like that. So there's a series of adventures that are modular but also partially tied to it. And I pretty much just slotted them into the campaign as a way of them being able to get loot and things like that. And it's easier for me because I don't need to come up with too much other than here's the introduction for Clifton. I did do a little bit of reworking for the dungeon, as it's a bit random. It really does seem just like randomly rolled tables, and so I made a little bit more sense to it, making it a bandit hideout with these goblins that are from the lands around, and bandits are using them. But they'll come to that when they come to it. I'm interested to see what they do, because this dungeon that they're coming to now, this the Burial Tomb, Tomb of the Serpent King, has multiple levels to it. And they could just go in, find the tomb, realise, okay, this goes deeper, maybe we shouldn't venture further, and head back to town with what little gold and things like that they get, and then maybe do some other things. So they could use, basically do their side quests, and then once they've leveled a bit more, go to the dungeon again. This is the Burial Tomb dungeon, because, as you might remember from the previous ones, Church of the Cerulean Sky, they know that the Gravekeeper has gone missing there, so there's a little dungeon attached to that. Clifton Caldwell as well is built for level 1. Caldwell Castle built for level 1, so that could be a pretty simple one, and could level them up because there's a lot of money in there. And the quest from Clifton is, hey, just clear it out. I'm rich enough. I want to just have a home to live in. So you guys go through, clear it out of monsters, and you can keep whatever you find. So yeah, a little bit of a shorter video, a little bit of a shorter session. Well, yeah, a little bit of a quicker session at least when we were playing it because of just RP. So yeah, we lingered on scenes and the sort. It always feels quicker anyway because recapping conversations, I guess. It's a bit different. And when you are RPing a scene, it seems maybe a little less might happen as you're batting things to and fro. But yeah, it's interesting to see. And outside of play, the PCs, outside of play, the players have been chatting about the game, which is nice. And I've heard other people within our sort of circles mention it. So that's fun to hear. At least everyone's having fun with it and the dangers of it. And I may possibly have another player join in for a session or so. So that could be fun. All right then, thank you for listening. Take care, and I hope you look after yourself. Bye-bye now.